Every LaLiga champion. The complete story from 1929 to 2026. Imagine a football league that has survived wars, legendary players, tactical revolutions, incredible rivalries, and some of the greatest teams in football history. That league is LaLiga. The Spanish top flight was officially founded in 1929, bringing together some of Spain's strongest clubs to compete for one of European football's most prestigious domestic titles. Since then, only a small group of clubs have managed to lift the trophy. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atlético Madrid, Athletic Club, Valencia, Real Sociedad, Deportivo La Coruña, Sevilla and Real Betis have all experienced the glory of becoming Spanish champions. But who won each season? Let's go through the entire history of LaLiga. 1929, the first champions. The first ever LaLiga season was the 1928-29 campaign. And the first champions in history were FC Barcelona. Barcelona finished at the top of the table and wrote their name into Spanish football history. The competition had officially begun. The early years. After Barcelona's first triumph, the trophy began moving between different clubs. Athletic Club became one of the dominant forces of the early era. They won the title in 1929-30, 1930-31, 1933-34, 1935-36. Real Madrid also claimed their first league championships during this period, winning 1931-32, 1932-33. Real Betis produced one of the biggest surprises of the early years by winning the 1934-35 championship. Then came one of the darkest periods in Spanish history. 1936 to 1939, La Liga stops. The Spanish Civil War caused the competition to stop. There were no La Liga champions during the seasons affected by the conflict. When football eventually returned, Spanish football entered a new era. And one club was about to become extremely important: the Atlético Madrid era. Atletico Madrid became one of Spain's major powers. The club won championships in 1939-40, 1940-41, 1949-50, 1950-51. Other clubs also enjoyed historic moments. Valencia won 3 titles during this period: 1941-42, 1943-44, 1946-47. And Barcelona continued adding championships to their history. The 1950s, Barcelona and Real Madrid rise. The 1950s brought enormous changes to Spanish football. Barcelona won 1951-52, 1952-53, 1958-59, 1959-60. But another giant was preparing to dominate Spain: Real Madrid. Real Madrid won 1953-54, 1954-55, 1956-57, 1957-58. The rivalry between Real Madrid and Barcelona was becoming one of the biggest stories in world football. The 1960s, Real Madrid dominates. The 1960s belonged largely to Real Madrid. Under legendary players including Alfredo Di Stefano, Madrid became the dominant force in Spain. Real Madrid won La Liga in 1960-61, 1961-62, 1962-63, 1963-64, 1964-65, 1966-67, 1967-68, 1968-69. That's 8 championships in the decade. But Atletico Madrid and Barcelona were still fighting to challenge them. Atletico won 1965-66. Barcelona won 1965-66? No, Atletico were the champions that season. 1973-74. The battle for Spanish football was becoming increasingly intense. The 1970s, new challengers. Real Madrid remained powerful, winning 1971-72, 1974-75, 1975-76, 1977-78, 1978-79. Barcelona finally returned to the top in 1973-74, with the arrival of a player who would become a symbol of the club, Johan Cruyff. Meanwhile, Atletico Madrid won 1969-70, 1972-73, 1976-77, and in 1980, Real Madrid finished another championship-winning campaign. The 1980s, Real Madrid and Barcelona fight back. The 1980s were dominated by two giants. Real Madrid won, 1979-80, 1985-86, 1986-87, 1987-88, 1988-89, 1989-90. Barcelona won, 1984-85. But then Barcelona entered a new era. The club appointed Johan Cruyff as manager. And something special was about to happen. The 1990s, Cruyff's dream team. Barcelona won 4 consecutive championships, 1990-91, 1991-92, 1992-93, 1993-94. Cruyff's famous dream team transformed Barcelona. Players such as Pep Guardiola, Ronald Koeman, Michael Laudrup, Christos Stoichkov and Romario became part of one of the most memorable teams in Spanish football. But Real Madrid eventually returned to the throne. Madrid won, 1994-95, 1996-97, 2001, 2002-03. Meanwhile, Atlético Madrid won the title in 1995-96, completing a famous league and cup double. And then came one of the greatest surprises in LaLiga history. 1999-2000, Deportivo La Coruña make history. Deportivo La Coruña became La Liga champions in the 1999-2000 season. It was the first and, so far, only La Liga championship in Deportivo's history. The club's golden generation had finally reached the top. But the next decade would belong to Barcelona and Real Madrid. The 2000s, The Galacticos and the rise of Messi. Real Madrid won, 2001, 2002-03, 2006-07, 2007-08, Barcelona won, 2004-05, 2005-06, 2008-09, and in 2008-09, Barcelona produced one of the greatest seasons in football history. Under Pep Guardiola, Barcelona won the treble. At the center of their attack was a young Argentine superstar, Lionel Messi. The Messi era had begun. The 2010s, Messi vs Real Madrid. Barcelona won, 2009-10, 2010-11, 2012-13, 2014-15, 2015-16, 2017-18, 2018-19. Real Madrid won, 2011-12, 2016-17, and Atlético Madrid shocked both giants by winning, 2013-14. Atletico returned to the top again in 2020-21. During this era, the world watched one of football's greatest individual rivalries, Lionel Messi vs Cristiano Ronaldo. Messi became Barcelona's greatest goalscorer and one of the most influential players in La Liga history. The 2020s, a new era. The 2020s brought another chapter. Atletico Madrid won, 2020-21. Real Madrid returned to the top in 2021-22. Barcelona then won the championship in 2022-23. Real Madrid claimed another title in 2023-24. And Barcelona returned to the throne in 2024-25. The competition continued into the 2025-26 season, adding another chapter to the history of Spanish football. Over the history of La Liga, the trophy has been dominated by a few legendary clubs. Real Madrid and Barcelona are comfortably the two most successful clubs in the competition's history. Behind them are historic champions such as Atlético Madrid, Athletic Club, Valencia, Real Sociedad, Deportivo La Coruña, Sevilla, Real Betis. Each club has its own story. Some dominated for generations, some waited decades between championships, and some created history by winning the title just once. The final chapter. From Barcelona's first championship in 1929, to Athletic Club's dominance, to Real Madrid's legendary eras, to Barcelona's dream team, to the Messi era, to Atletico Madrid's challenges, and to the modern battles between Barcelona, Real Madrid and Atletico. La Liga has given football some of its greatest stories. Thousands of matches, hundreds of legendary players, dozens of champions, but only one question remains every season. Who will be the next team to lift the La Liga trophy? This is the history of Spanish football. This is the history of La Liga.